Buoyant.
There you have it, the team confident that they can fly this mission end to end. So now, in this final stretch of the countdown, we're going to turn it over to Sandra and Ronnie at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, to take us through launch and ascent.
We copied all. Godspeed, Crew-8.
Thanks so much. So with that and Crew-8 sounding excited for liftoff, our next major countdown event will be around the T-minus 9.5 minute mark, when the Falcon 9 launch commit criteria get checked by computers. So right now we're listening in for that call. The launch commit criteria are specific thresholds and pieces of information about the entire Falcon 9 system needed to make sure that the rocket is healthy. Of course, we have many systems in place to ensure that the rocket and crew are both safe leading up to liftoff and during flight, now that we're approaching terminal count. Our teams are performing all those final checks before launch.
Back in Mission Control Houston, there's a variety of systems and console positions that are also being worked in tandem and monitored by the team. These include cameras aboard space station, reboost capabilities, as well as a console that monitors trajectory to ensure everything is looking good. It'll be about a 9-minute ride to orbit today, and that's about the time that we'll see second stage cut off. A few minutes after that is when we'll see Crew Dragon separate from the second stage. And along the way leading up to this, you'll be hearing some performance calls as we get into the final countdown, and then after liftoff as well. These are SpaceX flight controllers reporting on trajectory, speed, booster performance, and key milestones. But there are some other calls you'll hear the crew make as well after liftoff. The crew will report out number and letter combinations, which mark different abort zones throughout the flight up the eastern seaboard. The first two, 1A and 1B, have that name because they're in the first stage, and that will last until they're up to the very north of North Carolina. The next are 2A through 2E. Those will come into play once the second stage kicks in. That takes us from the top of North Carolina all the way to the tip of Newfoundland in the northern Atlantic. Diverting a little bit from the other naming systems, you will hear the call Shannon, or Forward to Shannon, which refers to Shannon, Ireland, meaning they would target off the coast of Ireland if they were later in that second stage and did need to abort. So again, you'll hear these different callouts throughout the flight uphill, along with key performance callouts from guidance, navigation, and control officers, and you can expect to hear from them on calls on trajectory and propulsion as well.
So one of the next callouts we're listening for is the announcement that Stage 1 engine chill has started, which is one of the key processes that prepares the engines for flight. Right now, propellant in the tanks is isolated from the engines, but at T-minus 7 minutes, we'll open the engine pre-valves and start passing just a trickle of liquid oxygen through the Merlin engine pumps,
Engine chill
chilling
has
the
started.
engines for the start sequence. There we go, right on time. Now we do this because the super chilled and densified liquid oxygen is really, really cold, and we use this process to bring the engine hardware down to a cooler temperature before flowing all of the LOX and propellant into it during flight. At liftoff, Falcon 9 is consuming 700 gallons of fuel per second, so engine chill helps us to prevent thermal shock and ensures nominal engine performance. So again, now that we've got that good engine chill call out, shortly after that, we should be looking for that Stage 1 RP1 load complete call.
So with that engine chill now underway, we're looking ahead to the call out that RP1 load is, and there you heard it, RP1 load is complete. RP1 is densified kerosene or rocket fuel that will propel the crew into orbit. All of that RP1 is now loaded into the first stage, and we did hear that the second stage was completed a short time ago as well. We're still loading liquid oxygen on the first and second stages. This is the oxidizer needed to combine with the densified kerosene that just finished up loading. Coming up, we'll hear the call for Dragon to configure for terminal count and then transition over to internal power. Then we'll hear the propellant tanks on Falcon 9 are getting ready to pressurize, adding some additional rigidity and structural support as we get ready for the strong back to retract. At first, it will move just a couple of degrees, and then we'll see it swing open completely the moment of liftoff. That strong back provides access to Falcon 9's fueling lines and umbilicals for both prop load and the different gases being loaded on board. We'll continue to check through a couple more fueling milestones, including one around the 2-minute mark before flight, where we will hear that the liquid oxygen is finished on board the second stage.
Dragon is in configured for terminal count. Falcon 9 tanks pressurizing for strong back retract.
And we did just hear that call out. Dragon is in terminal count. The onboard computers now are taking control of this spacecraft. The first stage will finish liquid oxygen loading in about 3 minutes, followed by completion of second stage LOX loading 1 minute later.
Strong back retract has started.
There's a call out over the nets that we are moving forward into strong back retract. The next thing you might be able to see on your screen is actually going to be the clamp arms opening up around the base of this second stage. That will allow the strong back to recline about 2 degrees away from the vehicle. And because we've now begun pressurizing Falcon 9, we know that it's strong enough to stand on its own. That TE will throw back all the way to 45 degrees at liftoff. The strong back is part of the transporter erector, which provides liquids, gases, and electrical connections to the vehicle. Here you can see those clamp arms have fully opened around the base of just the trunk of Dragon on stage 2.
And so the next major milestone that we're tracking today is stage 1 LOX load being complete. We expect that call out at about 3 minutes when that first stage LOX load will be completely finished. So all those white clouds of vapor you see on your screen right now are normal, and we'll continue to see them build up as we get even closer to launch. Because liquid oxygen is super chilled, it boils off a little bit in the warm Florida air. In for the call out that stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Stage 1 LOX load complete.
There's the confirmation that we have completed loading liquid oxygen on board stage 1, but LOX will still be loading for about another minute on board stage 2. Then we'll prepare to vent down the TE, which is going to produce another white
Dragon
cloud.
is in terminal count and is on internal
You may also
power.
hear. There's confirmation that Dragon is on internal power. You may also hear an announcement to the crew about that venting procedure.
So everything continuing to go as planned this evening. We are now 2 minutes and 20 seconds away from the launch of Crew-8. Standing by in about 15 seconds, we should hear the call out that the second stage LOX load is complete and that Dragon is in auto idle.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
And with that, you did hear that LOX load is complete. Gas closeout has also begun, so we're now isolating all the feed lines for the different gas systems from the Falcon 9 rocket. They'll then get great news, continuing to move towards launch, and you could even hear some of those gases being vented over just shortly. And you can hear it even better now. Something else you might see here in a few moments is water being poured onto the pad. Because rockets are super loud, the sound can impart loads back on the rocket itself, so that water helps absorb and prevent the sound from hitting the structure and reverberating back onto the rocket.
FTS
Coming up on
Falcon
1
9
minute
is in
until
startup
launch.
and is now controlling. Dragon is in countdown.
The flight termination system is armed, and we are in
Dragon,
countdown.
SpaceX, go for
45
launch.
seconds.
Dragon copies. Go for launch.
Reports go. Crew reports go. Now
T-minus 30 seconds.
about 30 seconds away from liftoff.
$15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. And liftoff of NASA Crew-8. Go Falcon, go SpaceX, and go NASA.
One Alpha.
Endeavour ascends, a beacon of human ambition. 1.7 million pounds of thrust now propelling Falcon 9 and Crew-8. Vehicle is pitching down range.
Nominal power and telemetry.
And we are getting good call-outs on propulsion. Falcon 9 engines now throttling down to help pass through the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
With that call out, we know that Falcon 9 is now moving faster than the speed of sound.
Stage 1 throttle up.
1 Bravo.
So with that call out,
Copy 1 Bravo.
we know that Falcon 9 is throttling back up, and that one call out for 1 Bravo means that we are in the second and final abort mode for the first stage, continuing to get good performance from Falcon 9. Now at this point, the crew are already pulling over 2 Gs. And with that call out, we know that that engine chill for MVAC, which is our second stage engine, has now also begun. That also means we have a couple of events that are going to happen in rapid succession. First is that chill on the MVAC engine, and then we'll have main engine cutoff, or MECO, where the 9 engines on the first stage of Falcon 9 will cut off ahead of first and second stage separation. Then the Merlin vacuum engine on board the second stage will ignite and carry the Crew-8 astronauts to orbit, while the first stage begins its journey back to Earth. At this point in the flight, the 9 Merlin engines are starting to throttle down, and we're standing... There's that call out for throttle down, and we're standing by for MECO.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
2 Alpha.
Copy 2 Alpha.
So those incredible views on your screen, and of course the cheering behind me, means that we have had successful main engine cutoff, stage separation, and ignition of our MVAC engine on board stage 2. We are also in 2 Alpha for the aborts if needed. Of course, that second stage is being illuminated on the right-hand side of your screen by our single Merlin vacuum engine on board stage 2. Now, the next milestone we're tracking is the stage 1 boost back burn on the left-hand side of your screen. And we are expecting completion of that burn in just about 10 seconds.
And so Crew-8 is now traveling at over 4,000 miles per hour. We're continuing to get good call outs, everything going really smoothly today. That second stage will continue firing until we reach about 8 minutes into the flight.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Dragon.
Good performance on the lone Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. The crew's G-load dips right when we hit the separation event, and it's going to continue to build up now. Again, we just heard another call out for nominal trajectory. That was the guidance, navigation, and control officer stating nominal trajectory, or everything is looking good. Dragon is pointed in the right direction, continuing its flight uphill. This second stage will continue to fire until a little over 8 minutes into the flight, accelerating Dragon to more than 17,000 miles per hour and placing the crew in orbit. Right now, the crew is traveling at 4,500 miles per hour and is over 93 miles in altitude. That single Merlin vacuum engine can produce over 220,000 pounds of thrust in the vacuum of space, and you really see it doing the heavy lifting right now.
So while Crew-8 continues on its way to the International Space Station, the first stage booster is on its way back to landing
Dragon
zone 1.
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Confirmation
Dragon.
there that the trajectory for both vehicles is looking good. Now, the first stage has a couple of events itself in order to land. At T plus 6 minutes and 16 seconds, stage 1 will begin its entry burn, which will be the first of 2 burns prior to landing. During this burn, Falcon 9 will ignite only the center engine for about 10 seconds in order to slow the vehicle down before it reaches the denser parts of the Earth's atmosphere. That will be followed by the landing burn at T plus 7 minutes and 21 seconds. This time we'll light 3 engines and the burn will last for about 20 seconds, ending just about a minute before we expect Dragon to be inserted into orbit.
And so we did also hear a couple of different
Dragon
ground
SpaceX,
station
trajectory
call-outs like
nominal.
Bermuda. That is one of the ground
Dragon.
stations that we're receiving telemetry from, and everything continues to look really good with the trajectory. The crew now traveling over 6,000 miles per hour. Again, this second stage will continue to light for a couple more minutes before second engine cutoff. At that point, the vehicle will coast for a few minutes before separation. And it looks like we're starting to get some views of the Florida coast there on the first stage as it continues to make its way back to Earth.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Dragon.
Continuing to get good call-outs, everything going smoothly. Now almost 7 minutes into the flight of Crew-8.
So the next milestone we're standing by for is stage 1 landing burn start. Again, as stage 1 approaches the Space Coast to touch back down at landing zone 1.
Stage 2 FTS is safed.
And it is great to see that first stage back on Earth. Coming up, next on the second stage is second engine cutoff. You can hear some excitement here at Hawthorne at SpaceX headquarters as that first stage successfully landed back on Earth. So second engine cutoff will take place here in just a couple of minutes. Once the lone Merlin engine cuts off and stops firing, the second stage will continue to coast for about 3 minutes until Dragon is commanded to separate. At this point, Dragon will separate from the second stage and will fly free with Crew-8 still on board and in orbit.
Shannon.
Copy, Shannon.
And that call out for Shannon, indicative of Shannon, Ireland, the very last abort zone in the second stage. The Merlin engine is about to shut down. You just saw it there on your screen.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
Dragon
Hearing
copy.
good call-outs following second stage cutoff. The crew is
Launch
in a
stage
nominal
system
or
disarmed.
as expected orbit. That is great news. That launch escape system, and we are getting our first view of Crew-8 inside Endeavour, 3 of them in space for the very first time. So again, we'll continue to coast for these few minutes after that second stage just shut down. This helps to allow rates and motion to settle out. They're actually small reaction thrusters on the upper part of the second stage that can be used to counteract any residual motion, basically making sure that we're in a stable coast before Dragon separates from Falcon. We expect that separation here to occur at about the 12-minute mark into the flight. So again, we did hear that the crew has been successfully inserted into a good orbit. This is the crew in microgravity, 3 of them for the very first time, all good callouts.
So right now, the second stage is performing a series of checkouts as we prepare to separate Dragon from stage 2.
And so we will see that separation coming up in just a couple of minutes, after which a number of activation checkouts occur automatically. First, we'll be checking out 12 of the Draco maneuvering thrusters all around the service section of the Dragon spacecraft. And then we'll also begin to get ready for nose cone opening. Nose cone stays closed for the flight uphill to help protect all of those guidance, navigation, and control sensors. It also covers 4 of the Draco thrusters that will be used for the majority of the different phase burns, requiring Dragon to catch up to the International Space Station. So we are standing by for Dragon separation to occur here in just about 30 seconds from now.
Of course, the view you have right now on your screen. Oh, actually, now that our view has transitioned, you're getting a great view of Dragon's heat shield. This camera is on top of stage 2 and looking up into Dragon's trunk.
So if you're just joining us this evening, we had a successful launch of Crew-8. They're on their way to the International Space Station. The first stage has already returned to Earth and landed successfully, and the second stage has shut down, and we're awaiting separation, and you see it on your screen right there. Dragon and Endeavour now flying free.
Dragon, SpaceX, this is your launch chief engineer.
Go ahead.
Welcome to orbit. It truly is our greatest honor for you to trust us to launch you into space. It's been a pleasure working with you, and we trust that all the science and work you're about to do will continue to move humanity further towards the stars. We hope you enjoyed the ride, and thank you for flying on Falcon 9. Please send our regards to Crew 7, and make sure to remind them you just wanted to be fashionably late. I'll hand it off to the launch director for a few words.
Dragon LD, hope the ride was as awesome as a Cybertruck. Have a safe journey to the space station, and we look forward to seeing you when you get home. Thank you for flying SpaceX.
SpaceX